to the American people, then let me tell you that we are ready and willing to work positively with all and effectively with all those who are interested to work in this direction to make the region of the Middle East a region free of all weapons of mass destruction.
We have a new administration in Washington. Do you think that there is any hope now that President Bush is gone, that there can be better relations between the United States and your country?
إذا ما توفرت مثل هذه الرغبة لدى أمريكا بذلك.
We are still willing to discuss new relations with the United States if the United States is prepared so to do.
If President Clinton was sitting here opposite you, what would you like to tell him?
عندما يجلس الرئيس الأمريكي أمامي سأقول له الذي أقوله.
When he actually sits in front of me, then I will tell him what I think I will.
And how about if ex-President Bush was here?
من صفات العربي أن لا ينازل إلا من يكون على جواده.
And it is part of the traits of an Arab and values of an
ويكون
Arab
قد امتشق سيفه.
not to fight.
الرئيس الأمريكي السابق لم يعد له سيف.
It is part of
وهو قد ترجل عن جواده.
to fight only those who are on their horses with their swords drawn. And now that President Bush is neither on his horse nor with a sword drawn, then I don't think he
وليس من شيمنا أن
to be fought.
Basically, the people in the United States have come to the point where they don't trust you.
بأنه أكثر من بين أكثر الناس اللي عندما يثق بهم ثقة تكون في مكانها هو الناس الموجودين في العراق.
At any rate, whether the American people trust us or not is I don't want to comment on that, but I want to say that the American people are going to discover that amongst the first people that are worthy of their trust are people here in Iraq.
Many people believe that if, for example, we turn around and we walk away, that you'll be back across the border in Kuwait tomorrow.
بدنا لكانت قناعة الشعب الأمريكي الآن غير ما هي عليه وفق الطريقة التي عرضتم.
If only we had the means to reach out to the American people and explain to them how the American administration goaded the Kuwaitis themselves to become part of the conspiracy being woven against us, then the situation and the perception of the American people today would have been different from what it is.
Now, whatever you think about Kuwait, Kuwait's a much smaller country than your country. It doesn't measure up to your country militarily, and the same situation exists with you vis-a-vis Kuwait. No, in other words, the United States is a big country, and the United States can push you around, and they did push you around. You were a big country, and you pushed Kuwait around. How can we stop this?
على أقل ما يمكن. هل هو حالة ضعيفة؟
Would you consider any quarter or a government that was announcing at the time that they intended to that is before the 2nd of August 1990, that they intended to bring the value of the Iraqi dinar to its lowest possible value, and that they had intended to shrink or minimize the revenues and the resources of Iraq to the lowest possible level? Would such a government be considered weak?
إذن الحكام الكويتيين استخدموا سلاحهم إلى أقصاه. لكن سلاحهم هو الأموال.
So the rulers of Kuwait used their weapons to the limit, but their weapon was money.
If the same situation existed again, in your perception, Kuwait, for example, was successful in undermining your economy again, would you do the same thing that you did before? Would you go into Kuwait again if you felt that that would solve your problem?
لا يجوز أن نسأل أسئلة افتراضية ونطلب جواب من رئيس الدولة قائم على الافتراض.
I don't think it would be right to put hypothetical questions and then expect an answer from the head of a state on the basis of those hypothetical questions.
يعني السؤال لازم يقال إنه لماذا يستخدمون أموالهم بهالطريقة لتدمير اقتصاد الأرض.
The question should be put in this way: why should they use their wealth to destroy in this way to destroy the Iraqi economy?
المعروف أنه الشعب العراقي العظيم رغم كل الذي حصل عليه ما زال متمسك بقيادته.
So the known fact is that this great people of Iraq, despite all that has been inflicted upon it, perpetrated against it, still maintains its leadership and is still attached to its leadership.
ماذا يعني هذا؟
What does this mean?
يعني هذا أنه لديه من التفاصيل ومن الاطلاع ما لم يكن متوفرا للشعب.
This means that the Iraqi people is more in possession of the truth. It has more details about the situation than the American public.
Well, in the United States and Iraq are somewhat different. You know, the United States voted out its leadership. We did not have President Bush. Does the Iraqi people have this type of choice? Always when they talk about you, they talk about this is a country that is a dictatorship, and they say that you're a strong man and people cannot disagree with you.
ماذا يعني؟
What does this mean?
هذا يعني مع أن الشعب الأمريكي طرد رئيسه.
It means that is at the time when the American people have thrown their president out of the White House.
الشعب العراقي لو كان ما مقتنع بقيادته كان طردها.
If the Iraqi people were not convinced in their leadership, they would have dismissed the leadership.
كان طردها وعلى الأقل استغل مجيء هذه الجيوش
could have at least used the opportunity
والتدمير الذي وقع على بغداد وعلى كل مدن العراق.
And all the military campaign launched against Iraq and the destruction inflicted upon the country.
لكي يقول لقيادته
They could have used that chance
لا يستطيع أن يتحمل.
To say to its leadership, well, no, we can no longer take it with you in power.
You're one tough cookie, though. It's not so easy.
انك صعب المرأة، انك شديد، ليس من سهل التعامل معك.
I'm curious if you don't mind. When we go around town now, we see hospitals without medicine. If you want to buy a car, at the normal salary, you'd have to work 200 years to buy a car. The people are really suffering. And when you look back at the last 2 years, is there anything that you would have liked to have done differently? Great men have the capacity to look at their actions and say, I should have done something different. And as you look back at what you've done, would you have done anything at all different, possibly to avoid the situation, to avoid the bloodshed, to avoid the war?
ولو اطلعتم لتعرفتم كيف أن أمريكا وحلفائها كانوا لا يريدون أن يتم اختيار طريق آخر غير طريق الحرب.
If you looked at the situation then and examined the details and the developments, you would have discovered yourself that the United States and its allies did not want peace to be ensured.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that President Bush was trying to kill you? For example, when he hit the air raid shelter, when he hit the hotel, there was talk that you might be at that conference at the Al Rashid Hotel. Do you think that you were personally targeted, and how did you avoid getting killed during the war?
أني اطلعت على أمور مؤكد وأنا قرأتها بنفسي في مذكرات السيد شوارزكوف.
Unfortunately, I have read things in the book and in the memoirs of Norman Schwarzkopf that would tend to explain, to go along those political level.
وفي كل الأحوال يعني الذي أراد أن يضرب صدام حسين فإن الله كانت له سبحانه وتعالى إرادة أخرى.
At any rate,
هكذا كما ترون الآن.
Whoever wanted to hit Saddam Hussein,
الحمد لله على إرادة الله.
It's God's will that has prevailed, not his, because you see what the situation is like nowadays. It is God's will that Saddam Hussein is here and the others are not.
Did you think of the phrase "mother of all battles"?
نعم نحن الذين أطلقنا عليه هذا.
Yes, it was I.
أليست هي أم المعارك؟
Yes, it was I who named the battle
هل قرأتم
against that battle, the mother of all battles. was there any battle like it? Have you read about any battle like this? Doesn't it deserve to be called the mother of all battles?
Do you have an opinion of Clinton? I mean, you've seen him, you watch him on TV, I'm sure you see cable TV here, you see CNN. What do you think?
كان الرئيس السابق يعتقد انه انا كل نهار مقابل CNN واسمعها واشوفها، والحقيقة هذه هو يبدو دخلها في تفكيرهم.
Like the last president, who seemed thought that I always was sitting in front of television watching whatever he or others were saying on CNN, but actually that it was not the situation, because I had my work to do, and whatever was being said on the international level would be presented to me in writing by our editors. And I remember once he said, I read in what was presented to me that he had said that I know now that Saddam is watching me, and therefore I'm saying, when in fact I wasn't watching him, I simply read about what he had said later on in writing.
Okay, but I'm curious, I understand that, I'm curious, what's your opinion of that?
نتمنى أن يحقق قول جيد عنه في كل العالم.
I wish that he will succeed in leaving a good name about himself in the world at large.
People in the United States are very curious if you would tell them what your policy on Israel and Palestine is at this particular time. If an accommodation could be reached with Palestine, what would be your view towards the state of Israel?
بالنسبة للعرب هم ضد العنصرية.
As far as the Arabs are concerned, they are against discrimination.
وضد التفرقة الدينية بين أبناء الإنسانية أو بين أبناء الوطن الواحد والشعب.
And they are against any religious discrimination amongst on the level of mankind or or within a certain nation.
لا يقيمون علاقتهم مع الناس على أساس نوع الدين.
The Arabs do not establish their relations with others on the basis of religion.
أو نوع العنصر.
Or on the basis of race.
Can you envision an Israeli state and the Palestinians living side by side if the solution was acceptable to the Palestinians?
ولكن السؤال الآن، هل تعتقدون بأن إسرائيل ستمنح الفلسطينيين حقوقهم؟
But the question is, do you think Israel is going to give the Palestinians their rights?
أنا أعتقد لا.
I don't think so.
Would you recognize the right of Israel to exist if justice was done for the Palestinians?
تقول
If they
يعني
and if they agree that
هل يرضي الشعب الفلسطيني؟ فأنا قلت بأنه هذا
I said that if they come to a solution that would be satisfactory to the people of Palestine,
وبما في ذلك الشعب
and that would be satisfactory to the whole, to everyone and to the Arab world and to
وذلك سيتعامل
Iraq.
العرب مع نتائج جديدة.
Because that would mean that the Arabs will be dealing with a new situation.
With all the destruction that's going on, with the war and with all the killing, are you willing to extend a hand of friendship now to the United States?
نعم، عندما تتوفر أسس الصداقة والرغبة من جانب أمريكا. نعم.
Yes, when the basis for friendship and the desire for friendship exists in the United States, we are willing to extend our hand for relations to be established on the basis of mutual respect and mutual interest, and working together towards the establishment of peace and happiness for humanity.
الحقد لا يعمر الأوطان.
Because malice, hatred does not build countries or nations.
في نفس الوقت الاستسلام لا يعز الأوطان.
Yet, at the same time, capitulation does not maintain the dignity of nations.
I mean, at this particular time, what do you hope to gain? Why do you want to talk to the American people?
إن شاء الله خير، إن شاء الله يعني دائما نتأمل الخير، احنا مستعينين.
Let us hope that some good will come out of it. We always look forward to see good
من أن الشعوب تستطيع أن تكتشف الحقائق وأن بعد وإن كان ذلك بعد حين.
And we are confident that truth will come out.
In Italy, they would like to know if you think that the European countries like Italy can have a trade policy and an economic policy with Iraq independent of the United States.
طبعا ممكن أن تقام العلاقات التجارية والاقتصادية مع أمريكا التي هي قادة
Of course it's possible.
وعني إدارتها السابقة قادة
In fact,
العدوان
it
ضد
is
العراق.
possible to have
من
this
باب
kind of...
أولى نعم مع إيطاليا ونعم مع يعني
In
كل
fact,
دول
it is
العالم التي
possible,
ترغب في
to have this kind of
إقامة علاقات
relations with the
اقتصادية
United States itself.
وتجارية مع العراق. أهلا وسهلا.
So, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for taking the time.